Hello, it's me Onion and welcome back to Good Soup Games. As you all know, a new episode has started and just like last episode we get a new artifact and mods. With this comes new and exciting build opportunities. Do you want to freeze, slow and shatter all that dare challenge? Do you want to become the frigid fog, the ice wraith or an annihilating avalanche? This is the build for you. I call it Miss Freeze. Very creative, I know. Miss Freeze utilises everything's stasis within the artifact. Mix this with the best of the stasis subclass and you have a combo that evaporates hordes of combatants in seconds. Wasting no more time, let's dive on in. So first things first is the exotic of choice, and to no one's surprise it's the incredibly popular gauntlets, Osmiomancy gloves. The Osmiomancy gloves come equipped with the exotic perk, Fervid Cold Snap. This essentially supercharges our Cold Snap grenade, as it gives us an extra grenade charge and a faster recharge time upon enemy hits. It will also make all the seekers spawned from the grenade travel further, making chain reactions easier and freezing more targets. First, the most important aspect of Miss Freeze is Ice Flare Bolts. This aspect has the perk Cryoclasm. We will be granted seekers that track and freeze other nearby targets upon shattering a frozen target. Now the chain reactions you can get with Ice Flare Bolts is insane, as every new enemy frozen and shattered also spawns extra seekers, creating a wave of seekers freezing everything around. Our second aspect, Glacial Harvest, will create stasis shards around enemies that we have frozen. Whilst we have Glacial Harvest equipped, picking up stasis shards grants us stacks of frost armor. Frost armor will increase our resistance to damage dependent on the stacks we have. A stack of times 5 frost armor will give us an extra 22.5% DR. Stasis shards won't just give us this benefit, as they'll also give us melee energy on pickup. Now before we carry on, I should shed light on the aspect Bleak Watcher as a valid option to choose over Glacial Harvest, as the turrets it allows you to spawn can be very helpful in the highest level content. But if you do choose Bleak Watcher over Glacial Harvest, you won't be able to utilise some of the artifact mods, but apart from that, the build is essentially the same. As with both Darkness subclasses, we only have one choice when it comes to the melee and super. The melee is Penumbral Blast. It's a ranged melee that will send a stasis bolt out, insta-freezing the enemy it comes into contact with. The super is Winter's Wrath. It's a roaming super with good ad clear, but pretty bad boss DPS. I generally just sit on this for times when I'm in a bad situation and need to revive my fire team. Healing Rift is my choice for class ability, as we don't have many avenues to heal and any source is nice to have. Now, the grenade is one of the most important parts of this build, and as the Osmiomancy gloves only work with the Cold Snap grenade, guess what? We'll be using the Cold Snap grenade. Cold Snaps freeze targets on impact and send seekers out to freeze other enemies. If you're using Bleak Watcher, you can overcharge the grenade to place down an ice turret. Onto the fragments. In our first fragment slot we have Whisper of Fissures. This fragment is going to increase the damage and burst size of stasis when we destroy a stasis shard or defeat a frozen target. Bigger bursts are always helpful, reaching enemies that are not so close, helping continue the chain reaction of freeze and shatter. Whisper of Shards is in the second slot and a very important fragment. Whisper of Shards temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate from shattering stasis crystals. Shattering more crystals will increase this duration. Now, with the weapon we use, this is almost constantly up, making your grenade always charged, but more on that later. Our third fragment is another important one to the potency of Miss Freeze. Whisper of Rending makes it so our primary weapons deal 100% more damage to stasis crystals and 50% damage to frozen targets. As our primary will be a bow, it will destroy the stasis crystals with one shot. The synergy will make it so we destroy everything as fast as possible and deal as much damage as possible, making this fragment a no-brainer. The last fragment slot is taken by Whisper of Durance. Any slows we apply to targets last longer, and other certain lingering abilities last longer as well. This fragment is a very handy fragment to have, and more so in higher end content, as it's able to keep enemies frozen or slowed for longer. It gives you the chance to revive teammates, reposition, set up another combo, or just give a slight reprieve from being shot at. Fourth fragment slot can be changed if you so choose, but the other three are important groundwork to the build. Les stats. As we say in every video, resilience is the most important in PvE. It's tied to your DR, so you want this to be at 100. Discipline is just as important as resilience, as we rely on our grenade for half of the build to work, so this would be at 100 as well. As a Warlock, recovery is tied to the regeneration speed of our class ability, so having it moderately high or at max is ideal. I like to run between 80 and 90, as I like to have a little extra in strength. Speaking of strength, anything over 30 will do. I like to run around 50, as I like to charge quicker passively. Intellect's not really an important stat here, so as long as it's over 30 and it's not negatively impacted, that's fine. And finally, as per usual, mobility, dead stat for PvE Warlocks. Now we are on to the cornerstone of the build, the most important item which glues all parts of the build to become the stasis monster it is. Exotic weapon, Verglass Curve, has the exotic perk Hail Barrage. Final blows of this weapon grant stasis arrows stacking up to ×5. On the next hipfire shot, you'll fire the number of arrows dependent on your stack beforehand. The second perk built on top of this, Hailstorm. This makes the hip-fired arrows insta-freeze combatants directly hit and creates stasis crystals on arrows which hit the environment. All the freezes and crystals created by the weapons synergize with the fragments and aspects we have chosen, making an avalanche of cascading effects, freezing, slowing, and shattering the enemies. As it is a bow, it's able to destroy the crystals in one shot when paired with the aspect, Whisper of Shards. As the crystals are destroyed quicker, our grenade charges quicker, allowing more grenades to be used, freezing more adds, continuing the cycle. My secondary of choice is Aberrant Action, with Heal Clip and Incandescent. It's a handy weapon for chunky targets and supplies heals, as we are lacking in that department. Scintillation rounds off my loadout with rewind rounds and bait and switch attached. It is my choice for heavy, as it provides incredible range precision damage for bosses and champions. Both the secondary and heavy here can be changed to whatever you want, as I change them dependent on my activity, and they don't change any of the fundamentals of Miss Freeze. As I said, with every new episode we get a new artifact with new mods. Now this episode focuses heavily on stasis. It's these mods which crank this build into the Frosty God tier. In row 2 of the artifacts we use one with Frost. While Frost armor is active, stasis weapons gain increased reload and stability. As we are using a bow, this will slightly increase the notch speed, allowing slightly faster shots. Row 3 we use Wind Chill and Crystalline Converter. Wind Chill grants stacks of frost armor on rapid precision hits with a stasis weapon. Once again, as a bow is our main weapon of choice and Verglass is stasis, this is easy to activate. Crystalline Converter makes it so gathering stasis shards will fill a meter on the side of the screen. The next powerful melee hit spawns a stasis crystal next to the enemy, equal to the amount of bards filled. The crystal created from this, as like the others when shattered, will help with grenade recharge. The two on row 4 are Armor of Aramis and Hail the Storm. Armor of Aramis perk states, while Frost Armor is active, taking critical damage from combatants cause you to emit a freeze blast. Very handy if you're in a pinch, and just a handy extra source for freezing enemies, further adding to the stasis chaos. Hail the Storm releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets upon shattering stasis criticals. With the ridiculous levels of freezing and shards created, this is just making it complete overkill, spreading slow and even more damage on every shatter. Brain Freeze is the last artifact mod and is within row 5. Brain Freeze creates a chilling fog around frozen combatants, slowing enemies that already aren't slowed. Unfortunately, I don't have this unlocked, so I'm not 100% sure what it will do synergy wise, but I'm close to it and I'm excited to see what it can add to Miss Freeze. Something new added to this episode is an item called tonics. Now the volatile tonics can buff our artifact mods, making them more potent. The tonic I use and would recommend is Potent Tonic of Stasis Crystallization, as it boosts our artifact Hail the Storm. This will make our shatters deal even more damage. I should warn you that these buffs do have a timer and require you to reapply the tonic after 20, 40 or 60 minutes depending on the rarity of tonic consumed. Lastly, the armor mods. On the helm, I use 2 stasis siphon mods for orb generation, and the final slot can be whatever you want. In the arms, I use grenade kickstart, fastball, and momentum transfer. In the chest, just the simple resistances will do. I only change them when the activity and burns are needed. Solution and innovation are applied to the boots for faster ability regeneration, and a better already mod for a little help with keeping up our health. Lastly, on the class item, we have 2 bombers and a Reaper mod. You can change the Reaper mod out for a grenade finisher if you'd like. And that's about wraps up Miss Freeze. There will be a dim link in the description if you're interested. Thank you for watching until this point. A like, comment and subscribe will be greatly appreciated by us at Good Soup. Let us know of any builds you're creating or how you could improve on this one. Also, what's everyone's thoughts on the new episode so far? That's all for today. I'm Onion and this has been Good Soup.